Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. My name is Sohum and I'm on a mission to spread peace, love, and positivity through music. Today, I'll be giving a first-time reaction to a German artist named Reinhard Mey and Freunde. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that at least somewhat right, to the point where you can at least understand what I'm saying. We're going to be checking out their song, Nein, meine, Söhne, nicht, nicht. Again, hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. Apparently in English that means no, I won't give up on my sons. And this song, with the little backstory that I have, is going to be anti-war, an anti-war ballad of sorts. And you guys know where I stand on this channel as it relates to war, because of course I'm for peace, love, and positivity. War is literally my enemy. So, all of the forms that war takes, whether it's an internal war or literal war and armed conflict between warring parties and nations, there's no place for it, not for the future that I have in mind for this world, one where we are using our collective consciousness to catapult us into success, to catapult us into peace and advancement, rather than constantly pulling each other down, fighting for resources, oppressing those who have less than you. It makes no sense, and I will continue to push against these terrible vestiges of the past, but for now, we're going to have to deal with war as it is, and at least we have music and great artists who are willing to speak out against it, so I'm excited to check out what this song is all about. Before diving in, though, thank you, Gundula the Jazzy, for this request today. It means the world to me. Now, let's just jump in.
Ich denke, ich schreibe euch besser schon bei Zeiten und sag euch heute schon endgültig ab. Ihr braucht nicht lange Listen auszubreiten, um zu sehen, dass ich auch 2 Söhne hab. Ich lieb die beiden, das will ich euch sagen. Mehr als mein Leben, als mein Augenlicht. Und die werden keine Waffen tragen.
Nein, meine Söhne geb ich nicht.
Wow.
Nein, meine Söhne geb ich nicht.
Wow. Because the sons, we go off to war, right? We're doing the fighting, but the parents are saying no. We have to hold on. Wow, I didn't realize this was going to be a song about parentage in addition to being anti-war, because of course we disagree with war and why it needs to be fought, but it's from the perspective of parents. I didn't teach my kids to be violent. Why would I allow them to go into war? Why would this be a reasonable exception? If I want to lead with peace, love, and positivity, have them grow up in a safe world, how can you send them to war?
Ich habe sie die Achtung vor dem Leben, vor jeder Kreatur als höchstem Wert. Ich habe sie erbarmen und vergeben, und wo immer es ging, lieben gelehrt.
Nun werdet ihr sie nicht mit Hass verderben, kein Ziel und keine Ehre, keine Pflicht, sind's wert dafür zu töten und zu sterben. Nein, meine Söhne geb ich nicht. Nein, meine Söhne geb ich nicht.
So, with these kind of songs, like here you can see this line, the main contention, there's no goal, no honor, no duty so big that it warrants my children fighting for it and then potentially dying for it. These reasons are not that valid. Oftentimes they're positioned that way, and you can even look at the way that militaries message to conscript youth and get enrollment. But in other nations where there's mandatory conscription, this isn't even a thing that you can argue against. It's expected of you to serve in the military and to fight if it came down to it. And fight for what? Fight for the greed of those above who can't work things out diplomatically? it's a failed solution from the top down, and it corrodes the essence of a globalized society. It constantly causes derision rather than unification.
Eine Pflicht, sind's wert dafür zu töten und zu sterben. Nein, meine Söhne geb ich nicht. Nein, meine Söhne geb ich nicht.
Peace is hard, but it is so worth it. And leaders who are lazy to be peaceful.
Ganz sicher nicht, für euch hab ich als Mutter sie unter Schmerzen auf die Welt gebracht. Nicht für euch und nicht als Kanonenfutter. Nicht für euch hab ich manche Fiebernacht
verzweifelt an dem kleinen Bett gestanden
und kühlt ein kleines glühendes Gesicht,
bis wir in der Schöpfung Ruhe fanden. Nein, meine Söhne geb ich nicht.
Nein, meine Söhne geb ich nicht.
Oh, the cello.
Sie werden nicht in Reihe und Glied marschieren.
Oh, that is a rich voice.
Nicht durchhalten, nicht kämpfen bis zuletzt. Auf einem gottverlassenen Feld erfrieren, während ihr euch in weiche Kissen setzt.
Right, and this is a big point too. It's the hypocrisy in the way political leaders operate within. They want a safe, comforting world for themselves, for everybody else, but then they don't go out and fight the wars on their own behalf. If that's what they truly believe in, and you believe in force doctrine, then enforce it yourself instead of having others do your dirty work for you. And I can understand rationally, logically why it would be structured in this way, but oftentimes those who are not there to help you, they are going to put you out as cannon fodder. They're going to put you at the risk. They're going to allow you to be exposed to that risk in a very obvious way without really presenting the downsides, the realistic trade-off that you're making. At least it would be one thing to say, hey, look, this thing, there's a lot of contention behind it, but we believe that this is right and it's at the risk of a lot, and hopefully you're being, compensated in many different ways to even go about this thing. But that is so many levels above where we're at now. I mean, is there an ideal way to allure somebody into the throes of war? I mean, there's this whole philosophy, and I researched this back in college about jus ad bellum, what makes a just war feasible. And so much of the logic is conditional on there was a breaking point, and morally we are all culpable if we do not engage in this war. And of course we can't just constantly look back and blame infinitely, because there's always an excuse of our forefathers and there was generational war and whatever. But at some point we have to stop and learn to forgive and truly set aside our differences. At some point. I mean, if that's the solution, because war is never a solution to things, it is just merely a band-aid, if it even can be called that. If we can already see that our solution of war is not working, let's rip that band-aid off and actually lead with peace only.
Während ihr euch in weiche Kissen setzt.
Die Kinder schützen vor allen Gefahren, ist doch meine verdammte Vaterpflicht. Und das heißt auch, sie vor euch zu bewahren. Nein, meine Söhne geb ich mit.
Yeah, the social contract you owe to your family, much more important than you owe to your government or society. You keep those you love safe.
Nein, meine Söhne geb ich mit.
Oh, ho, ho, ho.
Nein, meine Söhne geb ich mit.
That was not expected.
Ich werde sie den Ungehorsam lehren, den Widerstand und die Unbeugsamkeit, gegen jeden Befehl aufzubegehren und nicht zu buckeln vor der Obrigkeit.
Ich werde sie lernen, den eigenen Weg zu gehen, vor keinem Popanz, keinem Welt.
werde ich mit ihnen fliehen, als dass ihr sie zu euren Knechten macht. Er mit ihnen in die Fremde ziehen.
Yeah, like, I don't have nationalism when it comes to my safety of my children.
Wir haben nur dies eine kurze Leben. Ich schwör's und sag's euch gerade ins Gesicht.
Sie werden es für euren Wahn nicht geben.
Nein, meine Söhne geb ich nicht.
Nein, meine Söhne gebe ich nicht.
Geb ich nicht.
Nein, meine Söhne geb ich nicht. Nein, meine Söhne geb ich nicht.
That's really powerful stuff. Ein Action für Frendensdorf. What does this mean? Nein, meine. Oh, so this is the title of the track. And these are all the different artists who participated in this. War, man, what is it good for? Absolutely nothing. And something to just like contemplate in general is it is so highly important that the generations that follow us, we teach them critical thinking. Why? Why, Sohum, do we need critical thinking? I mean, I think you already have some of the answers, but I'll give you some of mine. Critical thinking allows you to apply a flexible lens to a world that is often inflexible. We can see the different stimuli that are out there, the messaging that is out there to convince us to do one thing, to portray a certain event and another. Oftentimes things are just about perspective, and if you take everything at face value, that is very honest but sometimes blissfully ignorant thing to do, when in reality a lot of the systems that are in place, a lot of the rhetoric that's out there is used to manipulate, is used to convince or to nudge you incrementally without you even knowing. And without a discerning or critical eye, one can easily fall prey to so many of the different rabbit holes that exist. And, you know, I'm not going to say that I'm perfect, because I'm sure there's many ways that I could also improve and introspect and figure out how I'm doing in my life. But one thing's for sure, I don't hold war in high esteem at all. Usually people say war is a kind of last resort, and I see that, I understand the point, but that's why it tells you that there's been a failure from above, at least at some point. And war should never be blamed on the civilians. War should be blamed on those in charge of propagandizing, in charge of starting those wars. And I don't know, because there's like this innate feeling that I have that humans can be very violent, and there needs to be some overarching structure to keep us in line. But then the other, like, that's like more authoritarian sounding, because the other part of my like conspiracy brain is like, we can just reach a higher level of consciousness collectively to avoid all war, period. End of discussion. Can it be that simple? I can pontificate on my own as long as you know I need, but really it's all about how we choose to engage with one another. That's why I lead with peace, love, positivity, and try to spread that message, make sure that we are all spreading that peace, love, and positivity to those in our lives, because if we have this short life, let's make it as loving of a life as possible, as peaceful of a life as possible, and we all bear that burden, and together we can stave off war. Well, that's it. I hope you all enjoyed the reaction today. If you did and would like to request one yourself, you can do so by clicking the first link in the description box below. But as always, my friends, have a wonderful rest of your day. Take care and peace.